What's up, Dobsters? Doblamites? Dobloons, maybe? Perhaps? I don't know. Let us know what you want to be called. This is DOB Dynasty. I'm actually here today. Usually, like I said, on Saturdays it's going to be parlays, but I haven't really opened up, what the odds are and everything, but I'm going to get as much information to you as I possibly can for that, because I like to gamble. But like I said, I'm going to do my spider. I'll give you definitely like a list of an 8 leg parlay, and then I'll just tell you kind of like a little bit of about a couple of good odds out there. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about people or the players that I have drafted for or traded for that have pissed me off. I mean, I know it's just a game, but I put a lot of draft picks or a lot of eggs in this basket, and they have not fared well. Let me start with the first one. So Dalton Kincaid. I know, he had that 4th down and 5 drop, but look, he was diving and yeah, he should have caught it, but he didn't. It's not as bad as Mark Andrews, and he's not as old as Mark Andrews, so I think he's got some time left. But anyway, so stats time. He went from 91 targets and 73 receptions his rookie year to 75 targets and 44 receptions. Unfortunately, he did have a knee sprain from week 11 to week 14, and he missed 3 games. He had 44 targets on 244 routes, which gave him 18.7% target share, which is kind of low. And then his red zone target share did have a high 58.8%. So that's very, very good, especially for tight ends. 69% of the balls that are passed to him were catchable. So why did they drop it? In my opinion, it was because it was without Diggs. He didn't have another target that was able to take off coverage from him. Diggs did that. He was, good enough to have double coverage. Kalen Coleman, he's a second-year player, I think. He just doesn't have the separation to be that guy that gets away on the outside, so they can single coverage him. Every once in a while, as you seen last year, he'll get like the touchdowns and whatnot. But anyway, Buffalo also went more to a balanced attack. As you know, James Cook cooked last year. James Cook went off 16 rushing touchdowns, over 1,200 rushing yards. Dude was a beast. I believe Kincaid was covered as a wide receiver 1. He did play 61% of his routes from the slot. So there was always like at least a nickel cornerback or a linebacker, maybe probably even double coverage. Kincaid loves to run mostly in the inside. So that kind of hurts him too, because when the defenses are mostly going to play man coverage against Buffalo because they don't have that wide receiver 1. So he's going to get covered, a lot in the middle. That's where most of the man coverage ends up. He's going to have his up and downs. Buffalo's current receivers can be covered on an island. So Kincaid's job is a little bit harder. I still like Kincaid for this year. After watching, a couple of tape to figure out why he had like such a down year, I did notice that he was quite often running through the middle, and actually he ran a lot of out routes. The good thing is when I was watching this tape on the out routes and just like in general, he would get separation. He's good at creating separation, and he has the ability to get out of his cuts really easily when he's route running. So that's it for Dalton Kincaid. Not really sure what he's worth. If I were you, I'd keep him. He's still young. Like I said, he's been in the league for only 2 years. And then he, I wouldn't want to give less than like not even first round, like a high second. I think that's what he's worth right now, but I'm gonna hold on to him. I think that he's going to still continue to be pretty good. I might have to wait one more year for Buffalo to get that main wide receiver, but I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait for Dalton Kincaid, especially at the tight end position, because tight ends are so hard to come by relevancy for fantasy. Off topic, well, kind of. Kyle Pitts, I talked about him before. Like, I know everybody is just like, when is he going to break out? He's still getting like, you know, 60 to 75 receptions. He's still getting like, I think the lowest I seen was like 550 to 800 receiving yards. Like, he's still getting those yards and receptions. The thing that we're mad about is the touchdowns. Why isn't he getting touchdowns? But I think if he leaves, that he's going to get like more of those touchdowns. He will be the red zone threat because obviously Atlanta has too many red zone threats. But that's kind of who I'm comparing Dalton Kincaid to in the terms of going from rookie season to second season, not in terms of skill because Kyle Pitts is definitely an athletic freak. All right. Anyways, the second one that pissed me off was Travis Etienne. Uh, I gave up like a first and I don't know, something really crazy and really stupid. And I admit that. And that was last year. I saw that he got 2,000-yard seasons in a row. I was watching his tape and I liked what I saw. Another good thing about him is he was pretty durable from 2022 to present. So the past 3 years, he has dipped from 267 carries to 150. 150 is not enough for a running back, especially a running back one. His rushing average dipped from the 3 seasons from 5.1, so he had explosive plays his first year. His first year playing, because his first year he like tore his ACL or something. It went from 5.1 to 3.8 to 3.7 last year. He's just not getting enough big plays. He's honestly usurped at this point. Like Tank Bigsby is probably going to take over his job, and then they drafted the young running back this year. I'm hoping he's going to catch on somewhere else because this is his last year, and I highly doubt that the Jaguars are going to re-sign him, especially when they have Tank Bigsby and the guy that they just drafted this year. The targets are still there. Liam Cohen is notorious for using his running backs for yards. I've seen in Tampa Bay Bucks, he likes to use all three running backs, so that's another thing that kind of scared me. And he'll probably find a main back sooner or later. I assume it's going to be Tank Bigsby, but who knows? He might have drafted the running back this year because he saw something. Maybe he looked like Bucky or something. I don't know. So, in my opinion, Etienne is worth keeping next year. I highly doubt a resurgence is going to happen this year. If it does, fucking hell yeah. But I mean, like, I'm not expecting anything from Etienne, honestly. I expected his snap count to still be around the 40 to 60% range. So he'll be on the field 2 to 3/5 out of the time. And then probably like more around the 60% if they are behind the Jaguars. Their defense did get better. I don't know if it's going to really do well. But, Jaguars fans, let me know what you think. I think teams want the explosive plays, and Etienne will actually remain a running back in the shared backfield for the rest of his career, unfortunately. This is going to be his 5th year. This is kind of where they kind of start to dip. So we'll see Travis Etienne this year, how he'll do. And then hopefully, I take him on the Bears. Jesus Christ, get rid of Swift. Like, I'd take Etienne over Swift any day of the week, and I'd be happy with that. But so, like, basically my consensus on Etienne is don't trade him. He's not going to be worth that much if people actually watch tape. He just doesn't have enough explosive plays. This is one of the reasons why I would compare him more to like a Breece Hall, because Breece Hall has those explosive plays. He does get, a little shifty in the backfield or tries to go to the outside too much, just like Etienne. But like if he could just get those explosive plays back like he did in 2022 or 2022, then he'll be fine. Etienne will be fine. He'll be a good, running back too, just like David Montgomery. Another one that pissed me off, and I see it all the time, is George Pickens. All right, George Pickens is, let's be honest, he's a diva. Honestly, look, like he got in like 4 scuffles this year. Like he just something is he's very competitive, obviously. But I seen him like throw down a cornerback when he was getting covered. I seen him, just get away with a lot of shit too. Like he's been going around slapping people in the helmet and then just like walking away. I guess it's his mental game strategy. I don't know, but other than that, Jordan Pickens is a beast. Don't get me wrong. Like I see it. He is a physical receiver, and he will jump up, get that ball, and he will run through you. Um, he's been pretty durable from 2022 to the present. He's had 100 targets the last 2 years, which is good. There's not really been a dip in his play, which is good. It's just he's a diva. He's on the new team, the Cowboys. I would assume that he would get still 100 targets this year because I assume that the Cowboys are gonna pass a lot. They're gonna pass, probably the highest percentage in the league. I don't see any running back taking that many carries on that team, and I kind of see them, you know, playing from behind quite a few games. I guess it doesn't really matter if they play from behind because they usually pass it anyway. But if Dak Prescott is in there, they're gonna pass it a shit ton. I see the flashes of eliteness in George Pickens. I do. He will surprise you and just jump up, grab that ball one-handed, moss the hell out of whoever's covering him, get down, and continue on to the next play. He did went down with a calf injury this past week in training camp. We'll continue to monitor. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If anything, he misses preseason. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Like he only needs to like create a relationship with Dak Prescott, and I feel like Dak Prescott is very friendly with receivers. Like I don't know, he just has that leadership mentality. I'm not a huge Dak Prescott fan, but I won't take that away from him. It seems like he creates relationships with his receivers. Um, he complained, or George Pickens is a diva also because he complains about not getting the ball at the media. I think that was just a Steelers thing. Like a lot of players coming out of Pittsburgh just complain about the Steelers. It's really odd, especially with Mike Tomlin as head coach, who I don't think is going to be there very much longer, but that's okay. Like they kind of need to move on from each other. I think it's like an Andy Reid situation. They're just stuck at making the playoffs every year and not getting very far after that. Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach. He's going to pick up somewhere and he's gonna be really good. Whoever gets him is going to be a lucky team. Um, like I said, just 4 instances in 2024 alone. Like even before that, he's had instances where somebody gets in his head and he gets mad. So he he can get ejected at any point. He gets suspended at any point. But other than that, like he has shown the ability to be elite, and I think that George Pickens is you stay with him. Like unless somebody gives you a great trade or you're trading up for Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, one of those top 5 receivers, adding him as a package, keep Pickens. Pickens is going to be great. Um, like I said, buyer beware. Honestly, I can see only like 2 elite seasons, so where he'll have like 1,400 yards, over 100 receptions, and like 15 plus touchdowns. I see like 2 of those elite seasons coming. As soon as those 2 seasons are gone, I would trade him for as much as you can get as soon as he has those 2 elite seasons. Um, they will pass it a lot, obviously, and then CD Lamb is obviously a great receiver combo to take pressure off them, take coverage off of them. I could see teams like double covering both of them, but like I think George Pickens is good enough to win jump balls, and I think CD Lamb is good enough to even break through those double coverages. All right, the last one I'm going to talk about, actually not the last one, the last one I was supposed to talk about, talking with my friend, was Bryce Young. Bryce Young started 12 games last year. He was benched. I think he was benched too early, but I think that was a good thing. I think that was smart and a good thing for Carolina to do that. to motivate him. I don't think the end concept, because they had Andy Dalton, I don't think the end concept was to, embarrass him and have him, ride the bench the entire season. I think the point was to motivate him, be like, dude, you're not untouchable. Just because you're a number one pick, we're not afraid to bench you. And I think that worked wonders. He caught fire the last 3 games. He had 7 touchdowns and no picks and almost 203 yards per game. That's pretty good for Bryce Young. He now has a true number one in Ted McMillan. So we'll see how that goes. I still like Xavier Legette. And then the Panthers just need to keep Bryce from passing it, over 35 times. And I just looked at his stats, and like any time over like 35 times, it's not really a good game. That kind of sucks. I think the Panthers have a decent defense this year to where like they can afford to do that. They do have 2 running backs now in Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdy. So I think that will be good for Bryce Young to hand it off and then pass it 35 times instead of 47 plus times. Why 47? I saw, for some reason, I saw that he did that like 3 times last year. It was like 47 attempts. I don't know, just luck, I guess. I do think Bryce needs to run a little bit more. Like, I don't know if he is afraid or if he wants to prove that he's like a pocket passer, but dude, you use all your abilities, man. If you can run, run. Like, it looks like you can run. Shit. Surprisingly, Bryce actually only had 5 total fumbles last year. Yeah, I know he only played 12 games, but he had 11 the year prior. So that's a huge improvement besides, actually putting up good stats. I decided to keep Bryce Young over Michael Penix in my one of my leagues, just because of durability issues. I kind of see them as like the same quarterback. I drafted Bryce. Actually, not 2. I think I got him in the second round, and then I drafted Penix as well in like the second round. So like I needed a quarterback. I only had Jared Goff at the time. I would hold him this year unless you can package him for something, for a first or a better quarterback. He should make a better red zone threat than any receiver from last year, Ted McMillan, that is. And then, hopefully Bryce Young gets his stuff together and, he, puts up what I like to say Jordan Love numbers. Jordan Love will not win you a fantasy league, but he will put up numbers that will, be respectable and consistent. Hopefully Bryce Young can get to that point. Yeah, I know I'm a Bears fan, and you all like, you're just Jordan Love hater. No, I honestly believe that Jordan Love is good, but he's not going to win you any games. He's not going to win you any fantasy games either. He'll come out with those 2 or 3 games every year where he'll throw for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That's fine, but he's not going to win you anything in the playoffs. He's not going to win you anything in fantasy. Like, he's going to be consistent. That's all you can expect, and kind of that's all you want when you're playing Dynasty anyway. You want to rely more on your running backs and receivers because they can go off than you do with your quarterback. The one thing that you want in Dynasty League is you want your quarterback to be consistent. I think we can all agree to that. One more person I want to talk about, and it was just because I picked him in the first round. Like, I think it was 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe probably 2022, was Jalen Hyatt. And my buddy who does the podcast with me, he said, "Why would you talk about Jalen Hyatt? He's irrelevant." And like, I was like, okay. And then like I looked up all the stats and like everything, and I'm like, Snapshare, and I'm like, yeah, he's pretty irrelevant right now. And that kind of sucks, spending a mid first, maybe it was a late first. I think it was 1.11, so a late first on Jalen Hyatt when I did pick him. But I just saw so much potential from him when he was at Tennessee, and then coming into the NFL. He went to the Giants. They only had Sterling Shepard at the time, and then I thought he was going to be the next, mid-tier receiver. I didn't expect like 1,400 yards and like 10 plus touchdowns, but I expected a mid-tier consistent receiver, which is worth a late first to me. But I mean, he still has time. He's young. He's only like 23, 24 years old. So he still has time to catch on to another team if they decide to move on from him. He was a 3rd round pick, so I think this is his last year in New York. And he can catch on somewhere else. Being that wide receiver two or slot receiver. I have read reports just because I did a lot of research on him, and he said that he blames himself. He's taking accountability for not taking advantage of all the opportunities that he has received. Um, but you know, you win and you lose. But I felt like Jalen Hyatt was just someone that I wanted to mention, just because you got your other receivers out there, Troy Franklin, who could come out at any time. My friend did make a counterpoint of saying Sky Moore, and that's a perfect comparison of shit. He could be a Sky Moore where he's in the league for 3 years and then out. It could happen to Jalen Hyatt. I mean, I felt like Sky Moore was actually on the field way more than Jalen Hyatt so far, through the first 3 years. But you never know. We'll see. Hopefully, Jalen Hyatt can do something. But yeah, he's pretty relevant. Don't trade for him. If you have him, don't drop him. Yeah. We'll see. I guess this year, I do like that he took accountability and whatnot. But we'll see. All right. Like I said, parlays are coming. I'm gonna post my eight-legged spider, the eight-leg parlay, when the time comes, and I'll do that weekly. But let me know if you guys have anything in the comments for me. Let me know about Travis Etienne, Jaguars fans, if there are any Jaguars fans. I've actually met a few Jaguars fans around in Florida. Um, Not really too much out in the world, going to Chicago or anything, but just in general, I met a few, so they're out there. But let me know what you think about Travis Etienne. What pisses you off? What makes you think that he's going to be, pretty durable the next couple of years or pretty consistent the next couple of years? Let us know in the comments.